もしこれを簡単に聞くことができれば、あなたの英語はアメリカでの日常生活に十分なレベルです。ネイティブのように英語を学ぶ準備はできましたか？始めましょ
う。This is a story about a man named Walt. Walt was an old man. He had a grumpy face and did not smile much. He liked things to be neat and clean just so. He did not like change. He was a soldier a long time ago, and he always remembered how to be strong and tough. Walt stood in a big room. The room was a church. The church smelled like flowers. It was a sad day. It was the funeral for Walt's wife, Dorothy. She had died. Walt stood very straight and very still. He was an old soldier. Soldiers learned to stand still. But his eyes moved. His eyes were sharp. They saw everything. He looked at his family. He was not happy with them. His two sons were there. Their names were Mitch and Steve. They brought their families. They did not live near Walt. They lived in big houses in other towns. Walt felt like he did not know them. His sons whispered in the church. Walt saw that they were not sad. They just wanted the funeral to be over. Walt's granddaughter Ashley was there. Walt did not like her clothes. Her shirt was too short. He could see her belly button. There was something shiny in it. His grandsons were there too. They were bored. They played on their phones. They did not show respect. Respect was very important to Walt. A young priest stood at the front of the church. His name was Father Janovich. He was very young. He talked about Walt's wife, but Walt did not like his words. The priest said that death was bittersweet. He said it was sad and happy at the same time. Walt was in a war a long time ago. It was the Korean War. He saw many people die. He knew that death was not sweet. It was just the end. The priest's words felt weak to Walt. He felt anger in his chest. Later, everyone went to Walt's house. The house was full of people. His sons looked at his things. Walt felt they wanted his things. Walt worked his whole life at a car factory. It was the Ford factory. He built cars. He built things to be strong. His house was very clean. Everything was in its place. His tools in the garage were all in a perfect line. These things were strong and real. His family felt weak to Walt. His son, Mitch, drove a Toyota. A Toyota is a car from Japan. Walt built American cars for 50 years. He felt like his son had let him down. His sons talked to him. They said he should move. They said he should sell his house. They wanted him to live in a home for old people. Walt knew what they really wanted. They wanted his house. They wanted his tools. Most of all, they wanted his car. Ashley, his granddaughter, came to the garage. She looked at the car. The car had a big cloth cover on it. "What will you do with the car when you die?" she asked. "Can I have it?" The car was a Gran Torino. It was from 1972. It was dark green. Walt helped build it himself. It was a perfect car. It was more than a car to Walt. It reminded him of a better time, a time when America was strong, a time when he was strong. The car was real. He could touch it and take care of it. His family was not like that. His family felt broken. He felt closer to his old gun from the war than to his sons. His green grass in his yard was perfect. It was like a line. On one side of the line was his world. He understood everything in his world. On the other side was a new world. The new world was changing too fast. He did not know it anymore. After the family left, the house was quiet. but it was a loud quiet. It was the sound of his wife being gone. He was all alone. Well, not all alone. He had his old dog, Daisy. Daisy was a yellow Labrador. She followed him all over the house. His neighborhood was not the same. Old friends were gone. New people lived in the houses now. Next to Walt's house, a new family moved in. They were Hmong people. Hmong people are from a country far away. Walt did not know about them. He only knew they were not like him. He would sit on his porch. He would drink a beer. He would watch them. His face was hard. He did not like them. He said mean, bad names for them to his dog, Daisy. "Look at them, Daisy," he would say in a low voice. "Too many people in that house. They don't cut their grass." Their life seemed to spill into their yard. Their music was strange. Their food smelled strange. It smelled of garlic and other new things. The smells and sounds made Walt angry. He did not know why he was so angry. It felt like they were messing up his neat, small world. At the same time, Walt was sick. He had a bad cough. The cough came from deep in his chest. It was a loud, dry sound. It shook his whole body. Sometimes he would cough so hard that he would spit blood into a paper towel. The blood tasted like a metal penny. It was a scary taste. But he did not go to a doctor. He was a man who fixed his own things. But this sickness was something he could not fix. He felt like his body was breaking down. He felt like his neighborhood was breaking down. He felt like his country was breaking down. He was scared of being sick, and he was angry at the world. One night, there was no moon. It was very dark. Walt was in bed. He was not really asleep. The soldier in him was always awake. He was always listening. He heard a small noise. It came from his garage. It was a scratching sound. That sound should not be there. He got out of bed. He did not make a sound. He did not turn on a light. He knew his house, even in the dark. He went to his closet. He opened the door. He took out his old gun. It was an M1 Garand rifle. It was his gun from the Korean War. The wood felt good in his hands. The gun was heavy. It felt right. He walked to the door to the garage. He stood by the door. He listened. He could hear someone breathing. It was fast, scared breathing. Walt pulled the door open. A boy was in the garage. He was standing next to the Gran Torino. He was a thin boy with dark hair. His hand was on the door of the car. His eyes were big and scared. He looked like a deer in the lights of a car. It was the boy from the house next door. His name was Thao. Walt did not speak. He just stood there. He held the long gun. The garage was cold. It smelled like oil, and it smelled like fear. The only sound was the boy's fast breathing. Then Walt spoke. His voice was low and rough. "What do you think you're doing?" The boy made a scared sound. He did not answer. He was too scared to move. Walt took one step into the garage. The boy jumped back. "You made a mistake," Walt said. He lifted the gun just a little bit. The boy's eyes got even bigger. He looked like he would cry. Then he ran. He ran out of the garage. He ran into the dark night. Walt stood in the quiet garage for a long time. He held his heavy gun. He looked at his perfect car. The boy did not hurt the car, but he touched it. He crossed a line. Walt looked at the dark house next door. The war had come to his yard. The next day, Walt was on his porch. He was cleaning his gun. A car came. It was full of young Hmong men. They were a gang. The leader was Thao's cousin. His name was Spider. They came to Thao's house. They tried to grab Thao. They wanted to take him with them. Thao's family tried to stop them. There was yelling. There was pushing. The fight moved from their yard onto Walt's perfect green grass. That was another line crossed. This was Walt's land. Walt went into his house. He came back out with his gun. He stood on his porch. "Get off my lawn," he said. His voice was quiet, but it was strong and dangerous. The gang members stopped. They looked at the old man. They looked at his long gun. They were young, but they were afraid. They saw something in his eyes. They knew he was not afraid to use the gun. They got in their car and drove away. Walt did not do it to help the family next door. He did it to protect his land. But the Hmong people did not see it that way. They saw an old American man. They saw him stand up to the gang. He was a hero to them. The next day, people left gifts on his porch. There was food on plates. There were noodles and vegetables. There were bright flowers from their gardens. An old Hmong woman who used to spit when she saw him now smiled at him. She bowed her head. Walt did not know what to do. He was not used to people being kind. He was a hero by accident. He did not want to be a hero. A few days later, Thao's sister came to Walt's door. Her name was Sue. She was not shy like her brother. She was smart and funny. She was not afraid of Walt. She told Walt that the gang made Thao try to steal the car. It was a test. She said her family was very sorry. She said that to make things right, Thao had to work for Walt. No, Walt said. He did not want the boy in his yard, but Sue did not give up. She kept talking. She explained her family's ways. Walt did not want to listen, but her words made sense. Finally, he got tired of talking. He looked at his fence. It needed to be painted. He looked at the weeds in his neighbor's yard. "Fine," he said, "he can work, but I don't want to see him. Give him a list of jobs." So Thao started to work for Walt. Every day he came over, he did jobs from a list. He pulled weeds, he painted fences, he fixed things, he worked very hard. Walt watched him from the window. He saw that Thao did not know how to use tools. He saw that the boy's hands were soft. They were not used to hard work. Sometimes Walt would go outside and yell at Thao. "No, not like that," he would shout. Then he would take the tool. He would show Thao the right way to use it. His hands were old, but they knew how to work. He showed Thao how to hammer a nail. He showed him how to fix things. He was still mean to the boy. He called him names, but he was teaching him. He was giving the boy something good. And Thao was learning. His hands got strong. He stood up straighter. He started to look Walt in the eye. Walt decided to help Thao more. He took him to get a haircut. He helped Thao get a job at a construction company. He was helping Thao become a man. One afternoon, they finished their work. Walt went inside. He came back with 2 cold beers. He gave one to Thao. They sat on the steps together. They did not talk much, but it was a good quiet. It was the quiet of 2 men who had worked hard. For the first time, Walt looked at the boy and did not see a thief. He saw a good kid. Walt's world got bigger. One day he saw Sue. She was with her boyfriend. 3 young men were bothering them. They were saying mean things. Walt got angry. He stopped his truck. He got out. He walked toward them. The young men were strong, but they were afraid of the look in Walt's eyes. They backed away. Walt pointed his finger at them like a gun. Then he took out his real gun. He saved Sue. After that, Sue made Walt come to a party at her house. The house was full of people. It was loud. It smelled like good food. Walt felt out of place, but Sue stayed with him. She gave him a plate of food. It was delicious. Sue told him about her people, the Hmong. She told him how they fought for America in a secret war. When the war was lost, they had to run to America. She told him about their ways. Walt listened. He looked at all the people, old people, children, all together. They were a strong family. He looked at Thao, laughing. He looked at Sue. He started to like them. An old Hmong man, a shaman, came and talked to Walt. He said Walt was not a happy man. He said Walt was not at peace. Walt thought of his own sons who never called. He thought of his granddaughter who only wanted his car. In that loud, crowded room, Walt felt something new. He felt more at home with these new people than with his own family. The anger in his heart began to melt. The Hmong gang did not like that Thao was friends with the old white man. They felt Walt had made them look weak. They wanted to get back at him. One day they caught Thao. They hurt him. They burned his face with a cigarette. When Walt found out, he was very angry. He went to the gang's house. He found one of the gang members. He hit him hard. He beat him up. "You ever touch him again," Walt said, "and I will finish you." But the violence did not stop. A few nights later, the gang drove by the Lore family's house. They shot guns at the house. The family was safe, but they were very scared. They did not call the police. They were afraid the gang would do something worse, and something worse did happen. A few days later, the gang found Sue walking alone. They pulled her into a car. They hurt her very, very badly. When Walt saw her, she was sitting in a dark room. Her face was hurt. Her eyes were empty and sad. She did not talk. Walt was filled with anger, and he was filled with guilt. He felt it was his fault. He had started this fight. He looked at Thao. The boy's face was full of hate. "We have to kill them, Walt," Thao said. "We have to kill them all." Walt looked at the boy. He saw a young him. He saw the same anger. Then Walt remembered something from the war. He remembered a young Korean soldier he had killed. The soldier was just a boy. The boy was trying to give up, but Walt killed him. The memory was a heavy weight he carried every day. He knew if Thao killed someone, Thao would carry a heavy weight too. Thao's life would be ruined. Walt had to end this war, but he could not end it with more killing. He had to find another way. The next day, Walt got ready. He went to the barber and got a haircut. He went to a store and bought a new suit. He was going to meet his enemy. He would do it with pride. Then he went to the church. He went to see Father Janovich. Walt went into the small, dark room to confess. He did not confess like a religious man. He talked about his life. He talked about the war. He talked about his sons. He was letting go of the anger in his heart. He went home and got his Silver Star medal. It was a medal for being brave in the war. He found Thao. He gave the medal to him. Walt told Thao about the boy he killed in Korea. He wanted to save Thao from having ghosts like that. He told Thao he had a plan. He told Thao to come to his house later. When Thao came, Walt took him to the basement. He talked to the boy. He told him he was proud of him. Then he did a very hard thing. He stepped out of the basement. He locked the heavy door. Thao yelled and banged on the door. "Walt, let me out. We have to do this together." Walt listened for a moment. Then he walked up the stairs. He had to protect the boy. This was the only way. Walt walked out into the cool night. He walked to the gang's house. He stood on the sidewalk in front of their house. He stood under a street light. He was in a circle of light, like he was on a stage. The gang members came out onto their porch. They had guns. "What do you want, old man?" The leader, Spider, yelled. Walt did not answer. He began to speak in a loud, clear voice. He called them cowards. He told the whole street the terrible things they did to Sue. He wanted to make them angry. He wanted everyone to hear. Lights turned on in the houses on the street. People looked out their windows. They were watching. This was part of his plan. He needed people to see. He stood in the circle of light. He was not afraid. He put a cigarette in his mouth. He looked at the gang. "Got a light?" he asked. Then very slowly he reached his hand into his coat pocket. The gang members' eyes got wide. They saw his hand move. They thought he had a gun. They were scared boys with guns. They did not think. They just shot. The sound of the guns was a terrible roar. The bullets hit Walt's body. He fell backward like a big tree falling down. He landed on the grass. His arms were spread wide. The shooting stopped. The street was quiet. Smoke came from their guns. Walt's hand was open on his chest. The neighbors could see it. The police, who were coming with their sirens screaming, would see it too. There was no gun in his hand. There was only his silver Zippo lighter. He had won. He used their own hate to trap them. They would all go to jail for a very long time. He had given his life, but he had saved the family he had learned to love. At Walt's second funeral, the church was full. His sons and their families were there. They looked confused. The Lohr family was there too. They were very sad. They all sat together like one big family. Later, a lawyer read Walt's will. Walt left his house to the church. He left all his tools to Thao, and he left his car, his beautiful green Gran Torino, to Thao. There was one rule. Thao could not change the car. Walt's family had wanted his things, but they did not understand them. They just saw a house and a car. They did not see the life of hard work and pride. Thao had learned that lesson. He earned what Walt gave him. The last time we see Thao, he is driving the green car. The sun shines on the green paint. The car's engine makes a strong, steady sound. Next to him sits Daisy, Walt's old dog. Thao is not a scared boy anymore. His face is calm. His hands are steady on the steering wheel. He is driving his friend's car into the future. It was a future that an old soldier had bought for him with his own life.
Great job on finishing the story. You're one step closer to mastering English. See you in the next video.